here's Brian O'Neill.
And glad to have with us this morning live on our Newsmaker line, Republican Assemblywoman Marjorie Byrnes. Assemblywoman Byrnes, thanks for calling in.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Assemblywoman Byrnes, to start out with the coronavirus situation. It was 2 or 3 days ago, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced that the state is mass producing hand sanitizer. The governor says they're making 100,000 either gallons or bottles of this new hand sanitizer a week. And it seemed that what he said was that they were going to give it out to the areas that need it the most. Wondering, is there anywhere in your district that you're aware of that would be able to get this or that needs this hand sanitizer?
Well, it's interesting you should ask because I had actually communicated just yesterday with Mayor Buckley, who was interested in getting some of the newly minted state hand sanitizer for the areas in and around Hornell and the city of Hornell. So far, we haven't found out how to actually get a hold of it. I know it's been a good press release, and with any luck, it will actually be available because it is important, no matter what type of germs and viruses are out there. Absolutely imperative that we all take precautions at this time and all the times of the year for basic hygiene. But we're going to keep looking into it on behalf of Mayor Buckley, and if we're able to find out where and how we can get a hold of it for your area, we'll make sure you know about it, and so does the mayor.
Yes, hearing, Assemblywoman, that a lot of store shelves are pretty depleted these days in a lot of places across the country. Are you hearing that from areas in your district that people go in to go grocery shopping, in particular for items like hand soap and toilet paper?
You know, I've heard people make comments along that line. I've seen more on Facebook than I have in the community. But I think it behooves everybody to use and purchase the products that you need in your home, and nobody should be hoarding because everybody is going to be out there needing toiletries and products. We need to make sure that products are available to everybody. So no hoarding out there, guys. I have the utmost confidence in our Department of Health, and this is certainly a serious issue and certainly a serious virus. But we do have to keep our heads about us and just take proper precautions and do what our leaders tell us to do.
I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you said it that way about no hoarding. You're the first person, I think, who said that I'm aware of, and I think it's good advice. We're talking to Republican Assemblywoman Marjorie Byrnes. How well do you think the coronavirus situation is being handled in New York State?
As far as I can tell from the conversations I've had and the meetings that we've had, although it was last week, and things change rapidly with the Commissioner of Health, I truly do have the utmost respect and confidence in the leadership in the health community, and not just at the state level, but at our county levels. And that's why I think the most important thing for all of us to do is to listen to what our leaders tell us in our own communities and follow their directives. And while it sounds, initially kind of, stupid about make sure you wash your hands, do it for at least 20 seconds, don't touch your face, those really are a lot of the keys for most people in order to avoid getting sick at any time of the year because of whatever the disease or virus is. You tell you what, I never realized how frequently we actually touch our faces until they started telling us to be careful and not to. And, it is amazing how much we touch all sorts of surfaces and then, reach up and touch our hair, touch our face, and, just subconsciously. So, it is important for all of us to keep ahead, listen to our leaders, and just adhere to important but basic hygiene.
Now, I said on the news just a few minutes ago, Assemblywoman Byrnes, I said on the newscast that the governor says he does not want to do any containment. Well, now I'm being contradicted. It seems that, or the governor's being contradicted on his own rule. Well, things change, and he has to change along with them. I'm seeing on CBS New York City this morning, Governor Cuomo announces a 1-mile containment area in New Rochelle. New Rochelle, of course, being in Westchester County, which is, I believe, the worst place in not only the state, but possibly the worst place in the country right now as far as the number of cases of the coronavirus goes. But Cuomo had said yesterday he does not want to get too into the containments, but he has ordered one. And your thoughts there, Assemblywoman Byrnes?
Well, I know the news is calling it a containment area. I could be wrong, but my understanding is it's more of like an observation that it's not like there's roadblocks. There's nobody prevented from coming and going from that area. It's just that, they've kind of established an epicenter for that locality, and even epicenter sounds bigger than what I mean. It's just the word that popped out. But and people are going to be coming in order just to make sure that everyone's taken care of. But it's not like there's checkpoints to get in and out, or that anybody's monitoring it. I think it was just a way of distinguishing that area as being in right now in particular need. But containment, I think, makes it sound like people are being forced to stay there, and that's not the case. That's not the case at all.
Okay, speaking with Republican Assemblywoman Marjorie Byrnes this morning here on the Newsmaker Live. Moving on to a different topic, something you've been raising a lot of awareness of. In the governor's budget, he wants to get a new green energy project siting board passed. Now, I was under the impression we've had that since 2011 when Article 10 was passed in New York State. Article 10 created a state wind and solar siting board, but this is something new. But what is it called? Article 23?
Yeah, it's shorthand, but a long title. It's called the Accelerated Renewable Energy Growth and Community Benefit Act, and it is part of the budget, and it really is very scary for our communities. Can I take a minute and explain it briefly?
Sure, go right ahead.
All right, and if we need more time at a future occasion, because this really is important. Now, throughout my district, and as you know, in Steuben County, even further south than my district goes, there's a lot of solar and wind projects. Just right now, there's one being a solar project in the town of Burns in Allegheny, town of Dansville in Steuben, and over in the Barren Winds project over in the towns of Cohocton, Dansville, Fremont, Wayland, and there's others that are being planned and that are being built farther south. The reason this is important, this accelerated act, is because basically right now, while the state controls, there are some areas for local input, both from citizens, from our communities, so that while I'm not very happy with the Article 10 Act, which came into effect in 2011, because I really think it cuts out a tremendous amount of local input. But right now, it's looking good compared to what's coming down the road. If this accelerated act passes, it will take all control away from our municipalities. It's going to take all control away from our citizens. It would be the state deciding. The state would identify and pre-permit sites. The state would make them ready for auction to renewable developers. It would totally eliminate the possibility of our localities contracting with developers, negotiating their own pilot projects and pilot dollar amounts. It would eliminate the ability of our municipalities to do a tax assessment on the property. The state would take over deciding what pilot monies would be paid to our municipalities. We would have no negotiating authority at all. And again, the state would determine local property value assessments for solar and wind projects, cutting our municipalities out. So I guarantee you we'll get less taxes being paid and less pilot monies paid by the developers. There's also no comment period or input on any applications, so that all of the citizens who feel that there's important issues that need to be addressed at the state level, forget about it. Only after there's a draft released will there be a 60-day comment period. And even our local municipalities, if we've got laws in place as to what is or isn't allowed in a given town, doesn't matter. The state can usurp it and do anything they want at the state level and bypass and overrule our localities. It's going to be 100% New York State bureaucrats in Albany controlling every development in our region and controlling what we're allowed to get out of it. It's really frightening. Just as another thing is, no matter what people think about different projects, and some localities are very happy with the projects they've negotiated and how the monies that'll be flowing in can assist them, especially when they've got the 2% tax cap and they need to generate some resources. There's a number of people and farmers and landowners who want to lease their land to the developers, and they can negotiate the price for the lease. That is all going to be gone. The state will take over. The only thing the developer will do is buy from the state an auction-ready site, and away they go.
I pulled up on my studio computer here a letter that was signed by a bunch of green energy groups and lobbyists, and it was just written a few days ago, encouraging Governor Cuomo and the top state legislative leaders to move forward with the legislation that you're talking to and objecting to. And I'm going to read a little bit of the letter here. Overcoming existing barriers to renewable energy siting and rapidly advancing large-scale renewable energy projects in New York State is critical to decarbonizing New York's electric sector by 2040 and achieving the renewable energy plans of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. Goes on to say that, let me skip down. Currently, it takes 5 to 10 years to get a renewable energy project built. As a result, only 5 renewable energy projects have been passed by the Article 10 process in the last 8 years, and only one of those are under construction. So it sounds like the green energy community completely supports this. At least there's a lot of signatures at the bottom here. Your thoughts on what I just read there, Assemblywoman Byrnes?
Well, what we're looking at is a total takeover by the state and no democracy, no home rule on the part of our citizens. I don't have any problem with green energy. I think we should be developing it and we should be encouraging it. But when you tell a locality that because you dare to question a developer, you dare to have meetings within your town boards about what projects are good or not good for your community, and you voice your opinions to Albany. We're supposed to have 2 people on the siting boards, which we haven't been getting, but we've been fighting for it to make sure that there is local input so that whatever projects are built are something that the community wants and that is good for the community. This is making it a 100% dictatorship strictly to achieve the goals of the climate change law that was passed last year. That's the whole thing. Accelerate it. Don't allow citizens and communities input because we're mucking up the process. We're not mucking up the process. We're voicing our opinions like we should have a right to do in a country, in this state. And to be denied our opportunities to voice our concerns, to contract, so that a farmer, if he wants, can independently contract with a developer and negotiate the price he wants. This is what we should be encouraging and pushing. It shouldn't be dictatorial control from unnamed bureaucrats.
Talking to Republican Assemblywoman Marjorie Byrnes, and we're going to go to the break in a second, but I wanted to get in one more point. Governor Andrew Cuomo, reading from his page here, announced he is advancing a 30-day budget amendment to speed up the permitting and construction of renewable energy, combat climate change, and grow the state's green economy. If adopted, the Accelerated Renewable Energy Growth and Community Benefit Act will create a new Office of Renewable Energy Permitting to improve and streamline the process for getting these projects going, is what the governor says there. On this 30-day amendment, tell us a little bit about that. 30 days, what does 30 days have to do with it? 30 days from the day that he announced it, that he wants this amendment through. Explain that to us, if you would.
He made, back on February 20th, if I remember correctly. But anyway, the governor did his executive budget announcement back a ways. And then once it gets to within 30 days, basically the budget deadline, they can make amendments. He can make amendments to his executive budget and include them into the executive budget and then push to get this as part of the overall budget, which will be determined on or about April 1st. But by adding it into the 30-day budget proposals, what it does is it only gives everybody in this state 30 days notice that this could end up being part of the budget, part of the law, and it gives little time for anybody to realize what's happening, to educate themselves on what it would do to their communities, and to get on board to fight it. So by dumping it on 30 days' notice, he is making it exceedingly difficult for the people who care about their local communities to rally and to fight for their rights. It's just awful that by doing this, it's another tactic to try to cut out localities and local communities from being part of the process.
Going to take a quick break. We're speaking with Assemblywoman Marjorie Byrnes. When we get back, we'll talk about the new hospital dedication at St. James Hospital in Hornell that the Assemblywoman attended recently. Stay with us.
Courts Auto Collision.
Hi, Bill.
Never seen an insurance job we both can't make money on yet.
Bill?
And yes, I still have a free loaner car.
Bill, I just called to...
Courts Auto Collision, State Route 36, south of Canisteel, 698-9900. Online at McCourtsCollision.com.
Bill, for the first time in my life, you have left me speechless.
I am Bill McCourt.
Wow.
Checking in now with meteorologist Rob Carolyn, who says it's going to be mild through the end of the week.
It certainly is, Brian, though it's not very mild out there this morning. A lot of us starting the day out below freezing, but the good news is we're going to see a little bit of sunshine this morning, and that should bring temperatures up to about 45 today. You'll notice as the day goes on, though, sun's going to become a little bit harder to find. That's thanks to an area of low pressure that's going to be moving across the central and southern Great Lakes today. It's going to send some clouds our way. Highs today, they're going to make about 45. Sunrise this morning was at 7:28. The sun will set tonight at 7:12. We have clouds in the forecast for the overnight. Storm goes south of us with 30 to 35. Tomorrow, lots of leftover cloudiness, but it's going to turn milder during the day, 50 to 55 tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, periods of rain, breezy, 40 to 45. Rain will taper off and end on Friday. It's partly sunny, breezy Friday afternoon. Still mild for the time of year, up close to 50. We'll see sunshine this weekend, but it's going to turn cooler, Brian. By Sunday, daytime highs are only in the 30s.
And we're back with Republican Assemblywoman Marjorie Byrnes here on the WLEA Newsmaker show. The new St. James Hospital ribbon-cutting event that you attended recently, Assemblywoman Byrnes, tell us about that.
That was awesome. The last segment we had was sad news that I see coming, and I have one more comment on that other segment before we go. But the St. James Hospital is phenomenal. I know that that's been in the works since approximately 2014, when regrettably it came to a time when the old St. James Hospital was going to have to close. There were no alternatives. But what the Hornell community and the Hornellsville community has done to rally behind the hospital, to make sure that they didn't lose one, but instead were able to build new. And I just can't express how this will be a benefit to the entire community. I was able to take a tour of it back in October when it was still under construction and get a personal tour and be shown where all the different areas would be that are going to be state-of-the-art health care for people in the Hornell community. And then when I was back there last week for the ribbon cutting, and again, took a look and saw how it just in the last few months has developed, again, into the absolute state-of-the-art in conjunction with St. James Hospital and the U of R, and a lot of tremendous doctors and a lot of tremendous people in the community, both Mayor Buckley, Sean Hogan, and many others, that you have every reason to be proud and to slap yourself on the chest and say, we did good as a community.
With that, we do have to leave it. Please stay on the line, Assemblywoman, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.